7 o'clock, January 9th, 2024. I'd like to call the public hearing to order. Notice is posted at the town hall on the town's website. Public comments on the proposed text amendments of Town Ordinance 5-4 subdivision notice is hereby given by the Town Board of Town Lake Mills, Wisconsin, and a public hearing will be held on the 9th of January 2024 at 7 p.m. at Town Hall for review of the proposed ordinance text amendments for 5-4 subdivision. A draft of the entire ordinance is available online. The Town Board will adopt the ordinance at the monthly board meeting directly following the adjournment of the public hearing. We did receive one email for public comment on public hearing with some grammatical additions that we'll discuss later on in our regular town board meeting. Anyone in the audience that wants to discuss or come up and provide public comment on 5-4 subdivisions? Going once. Okay, anyone in the audience? Second call for 5-4 subdivisions, public comment. Third call, 5-4 subdivisions, for anybody that wants to provide public comment.
Make a motion to approve or adjourn public hearing.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say no. Motion carries. Public hearing adjourned at 7:01. I'd like to call on January 9th, 2024, and I'd like to call the Town of Lake Mills Town Board to order. Notice posted at the Town Hall and on the town's website. Can we get a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Can we get approval of last month's town board meeting minutes from December 2023?
I'll make a motion to approve December 12th monthly board meeting minutes.
Second that motion.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say nay. We do have minutes that aren't finished yet from the EMS special meeting that we had on December, I believe, 27th that are not complete yet, so we will work to approve those at next monthly board's meeting. All right, can we get a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
I'll make that motion to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I just have a question on personal property ones. I know Sharon's not here, but
Yeah,
we don't collect personal property anymore, do we?
I think there's still a couple that we do collect it on. It's getting phased out. These may have been delinquent ones possibly too.
Okay.
But yeah, that might be a question I have to ask Sharon. I think she's keeping up on when that actually ends.
Because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them on here. Okay. All right, that's it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Can we get approval of the town board expense sheets?
I had one and it was for mileage and for the certified letter that I sent. It's in the packet of bills you guys sent in front of you
Okay.
there.
Yep.
How much was it, Robin? Remember?
It was like $8 or something for the certified and then mileage to the courthouse, so.
We'll just do it this way. I'll make a motion to approve Robin's expense sheet.
I'll second that motion.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. And we get a motion to approve general fund vouching.
I'll make a motion to approve January's disbursements of $2,304,664.69.
Second that motion.
Any other discussion?
It's a couple things. Spotlight amount for the squad.
Get knocked off or something? We don't have one. So we ordered one.
Oh, holy crap. Wow. And then who's going to put that on?
General Communications.
Oh, okay. And that includes installation?
I'd have to
That
see the
bill,
bill.
the bill did include installation.
Okay, good. The other question I had is on the Coon Stormwater review.
You hand me that
That
pile of bills.
Coons are going to pay for that? I mean, we don't have to pay for that engineering, do we?
Which
That's getting billed back to
Okay.
Coons. That's the
Oh,
second bill
yeah,
for that,
yeah.
and I have the invoice sent to them already.
Okay, all right, that's all I have, thanks.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, say nay, motion carries. Reports, police report.
For December, we had a total of 30 and a half hours of patrol time, Sergeant Walters, and 29 and a half hours of administrative time for me. Sergeant Walters handled one car crash. He was assisting the city with that electrical issue that affected quite a large area. 6 traffic stops with 1 warning, 6 citations issued, including an OWI and a warrant arrest. He ran 5 hours of radar, did 3 residence checks and 8 park checks. Just an update on employees. Kevin Miller has decided to stay on. He was going to be done as of December 31st. He decided to stay on.
Great.
We have an employee, just needs to be sworn in. I don't know if Robin and him set up a date yet.
I have not seen a response to his email yet.
Okay, so we'll have that. And then, if you guys remember Cody
Excellent.
Jepson, who used to do a lot of lake patrol, he completes his probationary period at his current job in April. And he said he'll come back for the summer too. So, staffing wise, I think I got another guy in the chute, so we might end up with as many as a total of 10 employees for the summer. So that should
That'd be really good.
help us get some lake patrol done. With the upcoming Knickerbocker, we do have 2 officers signed up for patrol that day. I'm not sure what the lake is going to look like, whether or not that's going to, it might be boat patrol. So I would imagine that the on-lake activities are still up in the air for that, but we do have at least 2 people signed up. I don't know if there'll be any bails forthcoming on that. We did have a little bit of a disappointment here with our training group. So the town of Lake Mills is in a training group with the town of Oakland, Johnson Creek, Lake Mills, Waterloo, and I believe Jefferson's going to be joining us. And there was a monthly training, and it helped the officers get their hours, and it was usually free. They decided in December that they want to combine all that into 1 week, get it all done, which is fine, but they're going to do it in September, which is after the July cutoff for our training certification to go to the state. We have 3 officers that we are required to train. They're required to get 24 hours of training per year, which means we're going to have to find alternative places for them to train, and potentially that could incur some more expense. So I'm hoping to keep training local and cheap, but we don't know what's going to be available, and we have 6 months right now to get it done in. So we do. I've been talking to the DNR, and it sounds like we might be able to get a boat refresher course, a local one, so that we can get some of our guys, especially some of the less experienced ones, to get a chance to see how our boat patrol works and some of the laws and stuff that pertain to that and operation of the boat. So I'm working on that, and I believe the county will join us and send some of their own employees to that too if we get that set up. So I think that's all I got, unless we have questions from.
If you want to take a look at that GenCom invoice, it's right here.
Excellent, Nick. That's an awesome report.
And then just for that, so for whatever reason, the truck was not ordered with one. And obviously, as we get into the fall and winter hours, I mean, we got more hours of darkness than we do daytime.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And that's certainly an officer safety issue. So we did get that ordered. Unfortunately, it had to be back ordered and won't get installed until this year, though it was built last year. Because they do have it, they have it now. It's just waiting for the truck to come in, I believe.
Yeah, take a look at that. If you want to make a copy of it, and we'll just get that copy back in here.
I'm fine.
If I, until the installation is on there.
Good.
Excellent. Thanks, Chief. All right, now we have a presentation by the Jefferson County Drug Task Force, Detective Sergeant Dan Ratton. I'll try not to, close enough.
Slide down there.
Jason, do you want to hit one of the lights back there? Not sure which one it is.
Appreciate you having
That
me
works.
to kind of talk about some of what we're doing, and I know it's a challenge for us to talk about a lot of the things that we do because of confidentiality and also because a lot of it is continuing and ongoing. So what you're going to see is some kind of basic information about the task force, and then some of our cases that we have been working.
Are you Mike, Dan?
I am not.
You just wanted the mic? Or use the podium?
Ask Dave, I don't know.
Dave, you want Dan mic?
Yeah, I'm not gonna pick him up very good if he's just over there, be in front of a microphone.
If you want, I can forward the slides from
You could change seats.
Yep, I can stand there, or do you want me to move?
Are these portable?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I can carry this.
There's
Perfect.
one more you can assign.
Let me get.
These are two different reasons. Yep.
Yeah, otherwise I think I just need to put it down on the front. All right, so we were okay before. So, as I was saying, a lot of what we do is pretty confidential.
It's better if you set it on the table because it's not meant to carry around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry. That's fine. No, that's okay. Will you be able to hear me okay?
Yeah,
Okay, perfect. I tend to move around a lot, so I apologize. So these are all members of the Drug Task Force, all the agencies. Obviously, Town of Lake Mills is part of that. And I felt like the Chief Selk mentioned there was some thought that possibly the task force wasn't necessarily being utilized, or it's not really known what we do. And that's a problem for us then, because we're not explaining what we do. So I think it's important and incumbent upon us to actually kind of give you some details so you know that your support is actually being utilized, because it is. Part of our mission, countywide, but also with other agencies, the state, DEA, is to work unified to deal with the collateral problems and the problems associated with distribution of controlled substances in our area. So we do work to also do some demand reduction efforts, education to prevent kids from getting involved in drugs. But a lot of what we're doing and in our area is specifically targeting dealers. We have a steering committee. That's all of the chiefs from the member agencies. Chief Selk's on the steering committee. They basically, on a quarterly basis, receive reports of what's going on. But depending on the day, sometimes different chiefs miss the meetings for different reasons. And some of the disclosures of different case specifics and things like that don't necessarily always happen, or you don't get the perspective of some of the cases that happen. So I'm the sergeant from the Sheriff's Department, Dan Horvatin. So I've been at the Sheriff's Department 23 years. I worked in the jail, I worked in the courthouse, I worked patrol, I was a detective, and then I was assigned to the task force as a sergeant. So I've been running the task force for the last 4.5 years, give or take. And so I kind of run the day-to-day operations. So our multi-jurisdictional agreement, which you guys are members or part of, covers responsibilities for both the agency, the steering committee, me, officers, training, disposition of any property seized in investigations, like forfeitures, so people using vehicles or using other things, houses involved in criminal activity could be seized and subject to forfeiture. Participating members are also contribute monetarily and an hour requirement. So this is kind of just from our agreement, the hour requirements for the town, for example, 166 hours. It's the equivalent of one full-time officer paying to have part-time officers. Unfortunately, one of the challenges with the market that we're in is it's difficult to get part-timers because most officers are working their full-time job. So I think we're going to be better this year because we have some retirements and people are going to be coming back on. And if you have a full-time job, it's difficult to justify coming and working for a part-time wage when there's so much overtime, at least at the sheriff's department. It's really tough. So on cases, we receive information from a lot of sources, other officers, citizens, probation agents, informants, businesses. And so when we get the information, we would generate a report. So, and every citizen, I say this, it's not a small thing. When we look at cases, and it's just in general in the investigation world, small things, small details matter, right? Little bricks or little pieces of information which the general public thinks might not be significant, might be that little piece that we need to put the puzzle together. So I just say that you never feel like if you are calling or making a report that it's in vain, because that little bit of information, like I said, might be the building block that we need to get to where we can go to do a search warrant or further investigation. So we look at different factors as we go about our investigation, right? So what's the drug that's being involved? If we would focus only on marijuana, we would never get any of the hard drugs because marijuana is everywhere. But if there's weapons, how many people, children, and so whether or not we can conduct an effective investigation, those are all factors that we look at. So some of the things that we are also involved in: overdose death investigations, overdose survival investigations as well. We look at that. Maybe the person got lucky this time, and so if we can prevent them from overdosing in the future, obviously it's helpful for all of us. We've been involved in fugitive apprehension. Our team was involved, for example, there was a pursuit on the interstate, several people rolled a vehicle and were in or around the Crawfish, Milford area. We were involved in taking those people into custody. We've done, other kind of what would be considered like ruse investigations, the ruse type tactics to get people in custody. We've assisted with homicides, child porn, property crimes, fleeing. So all of those we're also involved in usually. Because obviously we don't look like this every day. We look like kind of scrubby people in a normal daily basis. And so we kind of blend in a lot more and people don't think we're cops. So we get pretty far. So just addiction in your brain. Two main areas of addiction are the frontal lobe and the center of your brain. So this is where kind of addiction, when we start talking about brain development, most people don't have a fully formed brain or not fully developed until you're 23 to 25 years old. And that makes a difference when we start talking about drug use for younger children and younger people. This slide basically talks about addiction here, but really what it's critical for us to understand in law enforcement and the general public too, is that you can see the slide where we have no drug use. There's a lot of brain activity. With drug use, you see how after 10 days, brain activity drops. It has dropped significantly. Just a little bit is coming back. But then you get to the 100-day mark where you now get more brain activity. And so a lot of what happens with addiction is it takes a long period of time with those people to be users, to be free from using their controlled substances, before their brain actually repairs itself enough that they can make better decisions. So that a lot of that has to do with treatment philosophy and how we need to actually treat these people. So one of the other things that we're involved in is drug endangered children. And so children, have a right not to have their parents be using drugs in front of them, selling drugs. They're an unintended victim of that. And so normally we don't go after users, but we will if we have parents that are using heroin or using drugs in front of their kids or selling drugs with their kids present. And we've had that multiple times, right? The parents driving on a drug deal and they've got their kids in the cars with them. And so we will do that then, and we coordinate with Human Services to do that. So we've done many drug endangered children investigations, and different cases. The children will be drug tested, and they can determine, did the child ingest the drugs? Were their parents holding them? And we've had babies that tested, positive for cocaine, and their parents were basically holding them while they were smoking a crack pipe. So obviously it's challenging. So we work on that. So one of the big things that I think is a misnomer out here is a lot of people think, oh, there's probably not that many drugs in Jefferson County, right? That's kind of what we hear and see sometimes. So this is I'm just going to go through. This is obviously a marijuana grow. There's another marijuana grow. This is cocaine that was seized. This is crack. This is heroin. See a lot of that. These are track marks from the person using. Now, heroin's not the only drug that's being injected. Methamphetamine is being injected, and so is cocaine, believe it or not. So another thing that we see are the counterfeit fake Percocets, or what we call the M30s. And we see these out here as well. So some people think they're a Percocet and they end up being fentanyl. So, and many people have died because of that, thinking they were taking a pain medicine and then they ended up receiving fentanyl and dying. So this can't see that well, but this is methamphetamine. So this is from a bust. There's about 3 ounces of methamphetamine there, which is a significant amount. So here, this is just to show you most of your local gas stations will have these. It's called I Love You Rose, or what they say is I Love You Rose. And it's actually called a bubble, and that's used to ingest methamphetamine and smoke meth. So mushrooms, blotter paper for LSD. All of these are gel tabs for LSD. These are all things that we see out here in varied quantities. But as we go through, we'll show you some of the larger cases. This kind of gives you a little bit of a gauge as what our seizures have been, kind of up through 2023. You'll see the powdered cocaine. We'll talk about a couple of those cases that led to that. Fentanyl, very significant. The 2020 case, you'll see that with the fentanyl. That was actually a Lake Mills case, so we'll talk a little bit about that as we go through. Methamphetamine as well, that in 2020 was a Lake Mills case. And then some of the other cases, the powder cocaine in 2023, we'll talk about that. That was a recent case in December. But we see a significant amount of drugs out here. Anybody know, you guys know why that might be? And Lake Mills has had a lot of big seizures. Any ideas?
Interstate.
The interstate is one part of it. We're very Jefferson County in general is centered between Madison, Milwaukee, and then we've got Chicago and Rockford area. So, and several of our people that we've gotten in the Lake Mills area were originally Madison transplants. And the perception is out here, there aren't a lot of police, and so they can get away with a lot of things. So, just know that I know there's a bill for medical marijuana up in the legislature. Just something to be aware of as, you know, this goes through. Is weed really harmless? Well, San Diego and places that have seen legalization have seen a 24% increase in psychosis. So people that are more schizophrenia. So, and then another thing that's being seen is kids accidentally eating the edible marijuana because they think it's gummy bears, right? So those are all things that are concerning at the least. So here's an example. So starting back in 2019, and I kind of went through a lot of different jurisdictions, but this particular guy was an Illinois gang member, known to be involved in a lot of bad activity, kilo-level cocaine dealer. We executed a search warrant in conjunction with his arrest. He ended up being charged federally. He had a kilo of cocaine, so 2.2 pounds, and multiple firearms were recovered at the address. We're seeing a lot of that, and that's Watertown. So another case on Jefferson Street in Fort Atkinson. This lady, actually, we did 3 search warrants at her residence for drug dealing, and one of the guys was a convicted felon who was staying there. That was a shotgun that he had during the execution of the search warrant. So both ended up receiving prison sentences. One of them is back out now. So Main Street in Jefferson, I mean, less than a block away from the courthouse, we had another meth dealer. There was a report and we knew he was selling meth all around the city and other places, and we had a report of some strange orders coming from the apartment. We ended up obtaining a search warrant, and there were multiple ounces of meth and methamphetamine. Cash, you can see the firearm that's there. So this same guy was arrested in the town of Oakland shortly after that, probably within 6 months, and he had a warrant, and there was a safe with controlled substances, which was kind of interesting, right? This guy has a warrant. The people in the trailer decided, we're going to call to get you arrested, and we're going to keep your drugs. And then we ended up going back like less than a few days later and getting the drugs that they hid. So there's no honor there, for sure. So December 2020, this is one of the larger ones in the Lake Mills area. So we had received reports of this particular guy that he had a stash house in Lake Mills. He was a drug dealer from Madison. He lived right near the interstate, so he basically would hop on the interstate, go right to Madison, do his thing, come back here. And so we had gang ties and ties to Chicago. He's a convicted felon. And we executed a search warrant at the place. When we were going through the house, located a rifle. It's a little better. Methamphetamine. So just some examples to show you the pictures of the meth. So 2.36 pounds, that's a lot of meth. That obviously, so that's a huge amount. The estimated street value, roughly $133,000. That could have been broken down a lot. Same guy had 1.59 pounds of what we thought was heroin, but it's actually, the majority of it was fentanyl. So lots of people could have died from that. A lethal dose of fentanyl is like 2/2 of a gram. So 0.02 grams to 0.03 grams can be a lethal dose of fentanyl. So street value there, $144,000 roughly. Palmyra case, Another guy, convicted felon, who's on parole. We had information that he's having stuff shipped into his address. He's on parole. We ended up doing what's called an Act 79 search because he was obviously committing a crime, we thought. And so, I'll have to change my title, but so there's a firearm, controlled substances, to include marijuana, wax, LSD, and a large amount of MDMA. When we tested it initially, we thought it was heroin, but it turns out, Crime Lab said it was methylene dioxy methamphetamine, which is, it's another amphetamine. It's also called Molly. Okay, so these are just some pictures. There's the firearm there. He had a safe, which we seized, and inside the safe, marijuana, that's LSD inside there, and then inside there's the MDMA. So again, that's a large quantity. I want to say we thought it was about half a pound. So here's another great one. So your neck of the woods. So December 2022, we assisted Dane County's Narcotics Task Force with this particular investigation. This particular subject was selling fentanyl, heroin, and methamphetamine in the Madison area. He had transplanted himself into lovely Lake Mills. He was also believed to be involved in a person's death from an overdose. He was a convicted felon. He had several cohorts, one of which, when they Madison was following him and ended up getting involved. They were also felons. They had weapons. One of them had a full auto switch on a Glock pistol, if you know what that is, selector switch. Because he was a convicted felon and there were a lengthy history involving weapons violations, SWAT executed the search warrant. I actually planned the search warrant. I'm a team leader on our SWAT team, and so when we did clearing the basement, there was a gun hidden behind the washing machine. He was in the basement, so whether or not he was trying to just hide his gun or hide the drugs that were located, there's the picture of the gun. There's the drugs that were in the basement. So overall, this is what was located. So lots of fentanyl, heroin, cocaine, MDMA pills, and obviously again, a pistol as well. So his charges are pending. I think hasn't gone to, I don't know if it's going to go to trial. It's pretty cut and dry, but yeah, it's pending right now. So he's still, I believe, out and about in Chicago potentially. I don't think he's here. Another one, Town of Lake Mills, Mud Lake Road. So this is a particular guy. This particular guy was involved selling to confidential informant. We had information that this particular fellow resided in our area now, and normally from Madison, but also from Chicago. Gang ties. He was a convicted felon. Based on our investigation, we executed a warrant. A firearm was located, a significant amount of cocaine, so just under a pound, and $25,000 in cash. So there's, screwed that up, scale, money. You don't get to see the firearm, I guess. I screwed up my photo tape ability, so. But believe me, there's a firearm there, and he was a convicted felon, so. Another one, kind of a more recent one, in Watertown. So this is a search warrant based on cocaine sales. We executed the warrant, took these people into custody. This is a cartel-related, we believe, cartel-related group, meaning Mexican drug cartel. So believe it or not, we think there's at least 3 cartel-related groups operating in the Jefferson County area. This is just one of them. So this particular search and seizure resulted in 8.5 kilos of cocaine, so 18.74 pounds, with an estimated street value of about $212,000. So this is just a couple other examples. And this one, I can't say much on it because it's still active, but there's a lot more than 8.5 kilos in that investigation. and I'll just go to that. So that particular case, again, that's a coordination with several agencies, DEA and Walworth County Drug Unit, and it's a significant seizure. I will say it's the largest seizure in the state of Wisconsin, single seizure to date. So at least that's what I've been told. So let's see, I got one. So that was a quick way of kind of giving you a little understanding of where we're at here. And so obviously the reason I'm here is just to say how important support is for the task force. It takes these officers that are involved in these investigations a lot of time training and learning. But one of the things, as I mentioned, they possess, it sounds like that Taken movie, right? They possess a unique set of skills. But the reality is they really do. By working at the task force, the amount of ability to investigate crimes and help their communities is significant. And with that, I just put my pitch in there for, it really starts with getting good officers. I got a great team, and I've been fortunate to have a great team working with me. And most of the guys on my unit have over 10 years of experience. And it really takes time. Some of them are younger, but with this environment, it's really challenging to get good officers. So it's really important to support your local jurisdictions because, obviously, get what you pay for, and you either pay on the front end to get quality people, or you're going to pay on the back end when you get sued for someone that shouldn't have been hired, that's doing something they shouldn't be doing, right? So feel free to take down my number. This is our current task force unit, and if you ever have any issues, my cell number is the best number to get a hold of me. I should have taken the desk number off because you can't hear anything through the desk number. So, or contact my secretary, Mindy. She can provide any more information or get a hold of me. So, just open it up for any questions. I know I talked pretty quick, but I didn't want to spend too much time on things. So, any questions?
What's THC wax? I know what THC is.
Yeah, so what that is a concentrated form of THC, the active ingredient in marijuana. And so it's extracted. Basically, they use a solvent to put over the actual flower of marijuana. And then once they run that, and it's actually really dangerous because usually it's like butane, so it's something flammable. But they run it, they pack a column basically with the marijuana flower, so the buds from the marijuana, and then they run the butane over it. The butane then settles, goes through, and then they evaporate off the butane. What's left is concentrated THC. That's what's called like THC wax. Sometimes they call it shatter, sometimes they call it honey oil, and then that is like super potent, like between 80 to 95% THC. And actually, firefighters know that one of the things that's so dangerous is when they evaporate off the butane. Someone, they've got, you can go on YouTube and see the videos of people basically blowing up a basement because the butane settles. Someone, lights a cigarette, boom, right? So, so it's a volatile thing. Any other questions?
Dan, from a financial standpoint, the board approves money that gets spent by the town to the task force. And so, can you explain to them how you drive the number that they pay?
Yes. So as I mentioned, one of the challenges with the task force is getting let's go back to the beginning. One of the challenges is getting part-timers. So right now, besides me, I have 2 full-time detectives from the task force, from the sheriff's department. Watertown supplies a full-time person, and Fort Atkinson supplies a full-time person. So if we have the ability to utilize part-timers on our operations, we do. But, like I mentioned, I think this last year, I mean, it was less than a couple hundred hours that our part-timers were available. So we end up eating the cost of all of that overtime because, you know, for safety purposes, we need to have a minimum number of people to do different operations. So one of the things, the hours then that were available or allocated were utilized to cover the full-time people because you know, it's a set amount, right? So we were going with, $20 an hour, 166 hours, that monetary commitment, whatever that comes out to be. And then basically taking that and whatever overtime that we've worked that was not, the part-timers didn't do, that we couldn't get back from a grant for general investigations, and we would bill for that as a way to offset some of the cost and still have our member agencies kind of supporting the task force. So we were looking at different ways to do that, to change that, to make it easier, because I know one of your challenges was, well, the money's sitting there, and so we're going to use it because we don't think it's needed. You know, they must not need it because it's not been billed at the beginning of the year, right? So we're looking at a way to change it as opposed to potentially, and this is a good point for discussion, to instead bill at the front of the year, you know, what you've allocated, and then if we utilize all that money, okay, it's there, we're not sending you any other bills, versus we didn't utilize it all, well then we send you back a refund, so to speak, of whatever was unused. And so speaking at the steering committee meetings, that's one of the things that some chiefs have said, well, that's not for hours that are worked. And then it's like, well, okay, I understand where you're coming from, but we end up in situations where then, you know, we get towards the end of the year, and if there's a big case or something like that, that money then is gone. You know, in these two cases that we just had towards the end of the year, were very labor intensive and lots of hours. So we're looking at that, and that's something obviously to discuss, but, you know, billing at the beginning of the year. Now, I know the other thing that changed was our part-time hours, the wage for our part-timers. And I understand that because our sheriff's department didn't settle the contract until, you know, halfway through the year, and everybody's budget was pretty much set. So my thought, as I mentioned at the steering committee, was that we should really just keep the same budgeted amount, the part-time wages this year, because obviously it creates a hardship for, you know, to try and figure that out. So whatever that 166 hours times the $20 an hour, whatever that is, would be, other than the cash match part of it, would be kind of the contribution or support from the town of Lake Mills, for example. So does that make sense? Kind of, sort of. It's challenging, you know. The sheriff's department limited me to 4 part-time people for the task force, only because I believe it's a county ordinance related to part-time people. So they've got several people that work the courthouse and do transports, and then several that I could have. But the challenge is, again, most of the full-time people who work part-time are busy at their full-time jobs because they're so short.
So basically, just to kind of break this down a little bit too, so Jefferson County Sheriff is buying 2 people.
2 detectives
Right.
besides me.
So you got full-time wages and benefits.
Yep.
And so Watertown and Fort Atkins are each doing that. So their contribution, wages, benefits, overtime is about $120,000 a year.
Ish, yeah,
Ish.
give or take.
And for this year, we have $3,300. I just did the math. So, you know, we have a very minimal compared to everybody else, but then we have the smaller population. And a lot of these figures are based on population
Correct.
estimates for the area. So, but one question Jim asked last time I thought was a very relevant question was, we have a police department and therefore we're a member, but there are other townships that don't have police agencies. What is their contribution? Do they still
If they're not, yeah, so if they don't have a police agency, if they're not a member, then they're not contributing other than,
But they're in the sheriff's department domain then?
correct,
That-
correct. Most of the time, I mean, it depends where they're at, but a lot of where we're seeing the activity, you know, it's fairly rare in the sparse counties, so to speak, or some of the towns, I should say, that don't have that. There's, you know, there's minimum population. We see some of it, stash houses and things on occasion, but there's less activity out there.
And then one of the other things we've talked about in the past is the bigger fish type of thing. So obviously Watertown with a population of 26,000, Fort Atkinson's probably pushing 15,000. You know, when you see some of the slides go through, you're like, well, who cares what they're doing in Fort Atkinson? Who cares what they're doing in Watertown? When you're talking that, you know, a kilo of drugs or whatever, that spreads out. The dealers meet up and bring it back to our area or whatever. So there is kind of a bigger fish mentality on that.
Well, and this one, I mean, this is really huge, right? For a Lake Mills area, you know, a kilo of meth.
I think your Mud Lake Road one is, I mean, that's in the town.
Yep,
So
yep,
that
absolutely.
was a significant amount. And I would say this is probably going more local than Cherokee Path one.
Yep.
But, you know, and the thing is like a lot of times, people just don't realize what's going on in their area. And you know, just to back down a little bit too, is like, you know, I got a phone call this summer about some suspicious activity and a vehicle pulling up to a certain area, getting out, doing something and leaving, and it was just happening multiple times. So I went out and looked, and it was somebody who was hiding their weed, probably from their wife or girlfriend or something out there. They'd go out and smoke, go back home. So I called Dan, I said, we got this going on, and he was willing to put a person out there to watch it, or set up a camera to identify that person. You know, that's equipment we don't have, and it's time that we don't allow for our patrol officers to do. Plus, we're in a pickup truck, you know, with the logo on the side. So those are things that they provide to us. We got all our drug testing equipment through you guys, so we have in the drawer, we get that for free. So there are added benefits to it.
Yeah, and I mean, just an example, so there was an overdose death in the town a while back. Now it's probably been about a year, but you know, those are very challenging and time intensive, labor intensive to do. Sometimes they work out. Sometimes, you know, the people that are the users are kind of keen to things, and they delete their phones. There's no evidence left, so it becomes more of a challenge to then work the case. And so, but we're out on those as well. So, and we did one of those in the town. I'm sure there was another that I can't think of, but you know, so yeah, you're getting those resources as well. Even though they're a drug user, you know, they're someone's child or someone's parent or some, you know, a relative. So, you know.
So that's where your $3,300 is going. But all that sort of stuff, which, you know, to make the case on the other side, you still are going to be doing this stuff, whether we're in or not. So, you know, it's kind of a team effort.
And there's a lot of collateral crime, right? I didn't get into the collateral crime, but a lot of the burglaries, much of that's because of people stealing to then take that, pawn it, get money to buy drugs, right? So, you know, so that's always a common thing as well. So, drug driving too. I mean, we're seeing a lot more drug driving with people. They're under the influence of marijuana, but also people passed out behind the wheel, and it's fentanyl, like the fentanyl pills. So, and that one guy is, you know, a little bit north of Lake Mills. I'm not sure if that's in the town or not. I have to look. But Highway G and 89 to the north, is that
That's
part of the town?
just
No.
Yeah, that'd be
Ton of water.
Town of Waterloo.
When I was with the city, we had more than once people getting off the interstate, passed out, quick trip, fueling, passed out because they shot up heroin. I think at the BP we've had even Amco downtown, I think had somebody take pills while they're fielding them and passed out right there. So it's a lot.
Phone now.
There's a lot going on.
Any questions?
I don't have any.
Okay.
Thank you very
Well, I appreciate
much.
it. Thanks for letting me
Yep.
come and give you my spiel. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Are you okay if I take this down?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Plan commission report, Jim.
The zoning request, change request from Ken Lee,
Shenley.
Shenley was approved. Then we talked about comprehensive land use plan with our
Yep.
person, so that was it.
All right, Cambridge Fire and EMS report, Dave.
No meetings, nothing to report.
GRLC committee report. Wendy sent me an email just saying we did not meet last month. Town chairman report, city, county, state communications. Well, I'm gonna go right to roads on this one, quickly. For our town engineers, looking to put out some bids for crack filling for Bridle Path, Cool, Polo, Saddle, Woodfield, Upper Shoreward Hills Road, and I might put some out for just some touch-up on Elm and Shoreward Hills Road. Signs I think I gave to Robin already that need replacing. You can't really see them anymore, so
Yep, they're in order.
has to be done. And then hopefully by February we'll maybe get some of these bids back, and so we can kind of see where we're going to be at a little bit outside of winter maintenance.
Do you have kind of a list of contractors that can do some of that kind of work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I know Thunder Road, Farner, are the two primary ones for crack filling. And then there's a potential mill overlay or pulverized repave, and the three that he recommended there is Lake Terrace, Sunset Court, Upper Short Hills. So maybe there's a possibility we can get one done, depending on what costs kind of come in. None of them are real. I mean, Lake Terrace is in pretty bad shape. I know that for sure. The other two, I think we could probably get by with. But that was the roads report. Me and Lisa Curler, council president, talked the other day about the ladder truck, and I talked to Brian Udovich the other day. There's a couple more grants coming down the pipe. There's that A grant that's a 90-10, I believe, and then there's another STP local for 25. So it'll be hot to trot on some of that to see. We've gotten no word back. I think Brian told me that one we applied for on Mud Lake Road, they were pretty bogged down at the state, so they were thinking maybe March. We didn't hear anything back till March on that one. And then on Rock Lake Road, I think Corey's getting pretty close on that, because it looks like the state's got some of that stuff bid out already. But once he gets that put together, then we can get that out too. Trees, Matt's got kind of a later jump than he wanted to after the new year, and he started up on Gallup and Nipert. We had one complaint up there, but stuff was pretty overgrown out into the road, and I know it was affecting our plow truck and affecting probably other businesses that have to go and deliver things. So it needed to get done, and he's just going to kind of keep working across a lot of dead trees on Short Hills Road and other places in the township. So it'll be kind of slow going with the weather now, but he is en route working to try to clean some of that up for us. I'm trying to think. I think that's it, 'cause we're going to talk about piers later on. So Parks Committee report, we did not meet in January. Town Hall Facilities Committee.
We have a meeting coming up this Thursday, and we are waiting for some feedback from the attorney, which Jim and I got today. Just keep moving forward with some correspondence and such.
Good. All right, period of public comment. Now's the time for the general public to come to the podium. Please state your name and your address, and please keep your comments to 3 minutes.
I don't see anyone else. Welcome up. Good evening, gentlemen. Thanks for the opportunity to speak with you. I'm Lisa Curler. My address is 369 West Prospect Street, and I'm currently the president of the Lake Mills City Council. As Tom mentioned, he and I had an opportunity to talk about the city's recent decision to purchase a new ladder truck. So I wanted to come and talk with all of you and just share more information about that decision. So at our two regular December meetings, the council made a decision to purchase a new ladder truck for the fire department and then amend our city budget. We had a pretty robust debate. If you had a chance to listen to or watch any of the discussion, because there's a lot of different issues. I would say overarching all of it is the public safety for our entire fire protection service area and the firefighters who use the equipment. So that was really, overarching all of it. But among the issues that we talked about and evaluated as a council were recommendations from our new fire chief, Chief Russ. He has experience in other communities. In a short time here, he's evaluated our fleet and came up with recommendations to make changes there, which included a new ladder truck and then selling the third engine. So that was his recommendation to the council. We also considered the condition of the existing ladder truck, which is 36 years old. Repair work and inspection in recent years showed a lot of deficiencies, and the initial cost estimates were pretty significant, and we really grappled with, does that make sense for such an old vehicle? I do have, Chief Russ brought copies of the inspection report to share with all the town board members and the clerk as well, so I can hand that out. Another factor that we talked about, there are national fire protection safety standards. They're voluntary, but they do recommend refurbishing a ladder truck at 15 years of age and replacing it at 25. So our ladder truck is quite a bit beyond that recommendation for replacement age. There's ISO ratings, which is part of the property insurance, and there's potential increase for premiums if our department does not have a ladder truck. So that was a consideration. The purchase price was, we had a very short time to deliberate about this, but the purchase price was only guaranteed through the end of December, so we only had a very short period of time to take advantage of that. Would have been another $25,000 plus if we had delayed even to this month. The other factor we talked about and wanted to try to think about implications for townships as well in our entire service area is this type of equipment is important for serving commercial, agricultural, and farming operations, as well as schools, industries. So we think it's a pretty critical piece of equipment for our fire department. I want to acknowledge that the fire contract does require the city to notify all the signatory townships by October 15th of an equipment purchase, and we did not meet that requirement. I want to be very open in acknowledging that. I'm glad that your town chair did become aware of it, had the opportunity to provide comment before the council made a decision. And we know these equipment costs are significant. They're going to impact everyone's budgets. It's not going to impact your budget till 2025, so that does allow some time to plan, which I think is really the purpose of that notice requirement. This decision was made over a fairly short period of time, and you may not agree with what the city council decided, but I do want to assure you that we had a transparent process over 2 meetings. We had a lengthy discussion and made a decision that I think is going to protect the public safety and the property owners throughout our fire protection service area for many years. So again, I do have copies of that inspection report that Chief Russ brought, and either of us would be happy to answer any questions that you might have. And thank you.
Thanks.
What was the purchase price?
I don't have the exact dollar, it's just over 1.5 million.
Okay, thanks.
I don't have any questions. If you
Nope, I don't.
Can I just pass these out real quick so I don't forget?
Because the plan still was to offset some of the cost on the sale of
Hopefully.
the really good fire truck.
Yeah, and the best part about it is that we do have a 2013, which is only 10 years into NFPA standard. That then is, when you look at used equipment that's out there, most of the time it's after its 20 plus years of service already. So you're looking at big, expensive costs to get back into something like that. Again, it was actually a $50,000 cost savings moving forward with that purchase in December versus waiting. So that's just an additional $50,000 that's not spread among everybody. The vehicle that we did go after is definitely not the biggest on the market. It is a single axle platform vehicle. and there is only one manufacturer that makes a single axle platform vehicle out there. And that's basically due to there is some patent issues that are with that ladder to get the strength for it to be fit on a single axle versus a tandem axle. The other part is it's the same size as our current engines that we have, except that it has a ladder on top, which means it's a lot shorter than our current ladder, getting into smaller places, rural areas, our city areas, but yet maintaining 100-foot plus length.
Which is good, you have a piece of equipment you can use.
Yes.
Yeah, just thank you for correcting me, just to make sure everybody could hear, so that the cost difference was about $50,000 between purchasing now or delaying. We expect delivery in November of next year, so you do have to order these things out, pretty far in advance. And then I think we're estimating. November of this calendar year, right, almost a year out. And then I think we're expecting about $200,000 on the sale of the engine, and then that would offset the cost of the new purchase.
Yeah, and we're putting that out, basically it's gonna go out through the Wisconsin State Fire Chiefs to go out to all the chiefs that are out there. I actually already have a couple that are interested. I got another potential coming this Friday to take a look at it. Simply because their vehicles are at a point where they need to be replaced. Vehicles are taking 2, 3, 4 years to get built, and this vehicle still has 10+ years of life on it.
So then you're gonna try to market it rather than auction it?
Yes.
Any questions?
All good. Any other public comment? Going once, going twice. All right, moving on to application. Discussion or decision requests from Troy Kendley? Gendley, the case. All right, sorry, Troy. To rezone from A1 to A3 a portion of parcel 01807133221-001 to add land to the existing A3 zone parcel 01807133221-000 at West 9122 London Road.
Okay, we're looking to put an addition on our house, and when we bought the property, we divided it into two. Property line goes right down the middle of our driveway. We're looking to put an addition on this way and then a 3-car garage, and then access in here. Another reason we want to do that is our kids play down here, and we got way too much semi-traffic. And all our kids are at the age of 7, so we just don't want nothing to happen. We want to get them located up front too to help out with that. When we went in there to move that property line, we also found out when they did that, they put the A3 lane with our house onto our hog barn. There's too much head in there for the amount of land on A3. So therefore, we're going to take that A3 and move it over here, and then the A1 we're stealing, we're putting over here basically.
Yep. And the second part of that is rezone from A3 to A1, the portion of parcel which you just described, to be added to the existing A1. So I'm good with it. Any other?
So the driveway that you put in to get down to your doggy daycare, then that's gonna access into your house and your new addition and all that, right?
Yeah, we'll branch off of that into there.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's see, we're doing 2 things here, right?
It should be 2 separate motions,
Yeah.
and I missed a signature of yours on the
Yeah,
second
can we get a
one.
motion on the first rezone from A1 to A3?
I'll make that motion. To approve, yep, sorry.
Second that motion.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. And then, can we get a motion to rezone from A3 to A1 on the second parcel?
I make a motion to approve that rezone.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
All right, Troy, I'll have your copy right here. And then I will get the signatures on our copy, and I'll email that over to the county, so they'll have that on hand, so they can move forward with that. Yeah, that's your copy.
Good luck, Troy.
Thanks for
Thank you,
reading.
guys.
Yep, thanks for your patience tonight. Discussion or decision on applications for operator license for Lake Mill Store LLC.
Right, and he's here. So we've got the 2 operator licenses for the ladies, I believe. And part of the challenge with that is they do not have driver's licenses. You would learn those. Mrs. Miss Patel is one, or they're both same last name? Okay. And the one thing that we would need to know on these applications, maybe you can answer this, are there applications for the truck stop site or for the proposed restaurant?
Proposed restaurant.
For the restaurant, okay. Because when they apply for these, it's gonna be really important that they keep that difference
Yes.
noted.
So this will be on the proposed restaurant side.
Okay.
Are they regular operators licenses or manager licenses? They didn't, for Kuldip Kamor.
She didn't indicate
Patel.
for this one. I'll let you look at it.
She didn't
Apologize,
indicate.
we don't do well in minutes. She didn't indicate whether it's a regular operator or if it was a manager's. And the other one, she indicated she was
Regular.
applying for a regular operator.
Yeah, so this is also regular.
Okay. All right, that answers the questions that we had on those.
Any other questions on that?
I think so, as long as they got it all straightened out.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want to do them now?
Sure. Can we get a
Or
motion?
want to wait till the...
Well, the condition, could be conditioned on.
It can be conditioned on, yeah.
I'll make a motion that we approve the regular operators licenses for
Kuldip Kamar
Kamar
Patel?
and Shirk Abahin Patel. Condition on the approval for the operator's license for the restaurant.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right, discussion or decision to propose Class B combo license, non-intoxicating beverage license and appointment of agent for K&M Plaza LLC.
So this is in regards to the liquor license for the restaurant. And we have the area of the restaurant drawn out, that was provided.
Yep.
Which is good, because this license can only be used in that restaurant area.
There's no connection between the gas station area and the restaurant through this wall.
So there is a door between them.
There
Which
is,
can be stayed locked all the time. So there is a hallway which connects them.
Stays locked all the time?
We can keep it locked all the time.
Will that be okay
So
with
that
fire code?
separates the gas station from the restaurant side. So I believe when we bought the business, there already was a restaurant which went out of business during the pandemic. So we're just trying to revive the restaurant.
Is there a purpose for having the door?
So the building, I mean, we can take it out, but right now there is a door, it's an existing building.
Can you weld it shut?
I think we need to check building codes and fire codes before we.
Yeah. Well, yeah, except because of the design of the
There
building,
is a
yeah.
separate main entrance for the restaurant side and the convenience store side. So main entrance would be, so people are not gonna be allowed to go in and
In and out.
between the restaurant and the store.
The only thing we could do is, there could be some kind of condition with it having to be locked, and if they go up there and check and it's not locked, then it gets pulled.
Or remove the condition, you could
Condition.
restructure it and close it up, as long as this follows the building code
Yep.
and fire codes.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
That'll be how it has to be.
Which it should be okay if you have two entrances and exits.
That's fine, as long as that gets done.
Yeah.
asking for
But, you know,
alcohol license.
Mick or one of the police officers goes over there, one of us, and the door's wide open.
Wide open, yeah.
Yeah, they can mark on there.
Yeah.
Pay for
Different story, right?
a combo.
So that's what we're issuing.
Right, yep, that's what they applied for, because that's what they paid the fee for, is a combo license, liquor and wine.
Okay, I'm done.
Who wants to make the motion on that one?
I'll try.
All right.
That's the conditions.
That's conditions.
I'll make a motion conditioned on that the door between the two facilities is not operable pending codes, fire codes and building codes, to grant the application to sell intoxicating liquor and fermented malt beverages to the K&M Plaza LLC Travel Plaza.
And also non-intoxicating beverages.
Yeah, for the combo Class B liquor license.
I think the non-intoxicating would be a separate one.
Separate one,
Yeah.
okay. I'll second.
I'm just gonna amend that door could only be used in an emergency, just in the time being.
All right.
Till something passes with fire code and everything else, building inspection. Any other discussion?
Do you operate both sides, or you just operate the restaurant side?
So right now, only convenience store, restaurant side is closed.
Okay.
So, yeah, so we have all the equipments and we are about to hire more employees. We are waiting on these licenses and then it'll take us about 15 days, then we'll be up and running. So
Okay.
right now it's closed.
But you are the contact for both sides?
Yes.
They are two legal separate businesses, though,
Yes.
correct? Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Thank you for making the trip down to answer those
Yeah,
questions.
just the non-intoxicating one that we need to do. Yeah, we need to appoint the agent, or approve the appointment of the agent, yep.
That's further on here.
Yep. So the agent is Devin Singh, is that right? The agent? Did I say that right? Devin
Yes.
Okay. So let's do the approval of the appointment of the agent.
Make a motion to approve the agent license to Devinair Singh.
Second.
Any other discussion? Well,
You have all of his information, right, Robin?
Yep, he filled out an application on here now.
Okay.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Okay, then that's the non-intoxicating license.
What's this one?
That's the owner. Not sure why he provided that, but that's okay. So then we just need to do the approval of the non-intoxicating.
Make a motion to approve the application for non-intoxicating beverage license for K&M Plaza LLC, Lake Mills Truck Stop.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
All right, I will get these ready for you and get them sent out, so you have them.
If you have any questions, if you need anything else, just email Laura.
Okay,
Use email on this next one.
all right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for making the trip down to get everything cleared up.
Thanks for
Appreciate that. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, old business. Discussion update on Drainage District 15. Mark finally got back to us and says he'll have the proposed letter by the end of the business day Thursday, and he's optimistic that the matter will be resolved and closed shortly after. That's the news I got.
Let's hope so. Okay.
All right, B, discussion and decision of boat launch condition and possible bid for renovations, repairs, removal of North Pier and North Pier this fall. Two of these are lumped together here. Hang on a second.
So where are we at with the,
It's in, there's no bids out yet.
okay.
So Corey's still working
So
on
the RFP
engineering.
is still being worked on?
Yeah, that's still being worked on. So that's in motion. I mean, it's been in motion, but it's in motion. And Corey was confident that he could have the permitting and apply for the grant in February, by that February deadline.
That's the DNR permit you're referring to?
Correct. However, to go out and bid, by the time we go out and bid it, and then actually approve on something, trying to find a contractor to get it done for spring, I think is out the window. I think it's gonna have to be fall at the earliest.
Yeah.
Which after Labor Day, the lakes, everything slows down anyway. It's probably a better time to be doing it anyway.
So in the meantime, we need to do some repairs on it?
we got that one coming down, it's down to new business, so,
Okay.
yep. That's why I was trying to find it on here. But that's kind of the news on that so far, so that's where that stands. Okay, C, discussion or decision of proposed policy for compensation of part-time police officers involved in a critical incident while on duty. This is tabled, so,
I'll make a motion to take it off the table.
Second.
any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries on table. Okay.
First question, did you send Nick's questions?
I had not,
Back to
because I
the
did
attorney.
not hear from Tom as to whether or not it should go to him at this point. So,
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, that was tonight's decision here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
To move it forward. Or we can move it forward or don't have to move it forward.
You've seen all this, right?
Just because the circumstances changed a little bit.
Yep.
With who it was gonna affect, and, I mean, in what Mick had in his email makes a lot of sense. I mean, should be for everyone, it's not a select group of people.
I
It doesn't
agree.
make any sense.
Yeah.
So, it's gonna have to make, because our attorney had questions on that too.
Okay, so.
I think was confused by it a little bit as well.
The motion would be to send it back to the attorney with Nick's questions and recommendations.
Right.
Get them
Correct.
incorporated.
Yep.
Make that motion.
I will second it.
Any other discussion? Do you have anything else to add to that?
Thank you.
We're good? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Thanks for your effort on that, Mick. I know it's been back and forth a little bit. Sorry for the,
That was my fault.
sorry for the, timetable on it, but we'll get there.
But it's good.
Trust me, you're beating out the drainage board thing, so by a long shot.
5 years,
All right. Discussion or decision of rental of former LMEMS facility for current EMS service provider. That's on the table yet.
I make a motion to take it off the table.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. It is on table.
So you
Okay.
should have a copy of the commercial lease agreement that was
Those are somewhere,
provided
but I
by
don't know what I did with
the property owner.
It's right up there.
That's that one here.
I got a question, Jason. If we were to sign this tonight, let's just say, when could you get in that building?
As soon as he's done, he's finishing up painting right now,
Okay,
probably within a month at the latest.
okay, so it makes sense to sign this in February.
We get a vehicle in there probably within a couple days.
So we're looking at February.
You want to wait till our February board?
Well, the date on here, or does,
Yeah, because we don't know. It's,
The date to start the contract you're talking.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, he didn't want to put a date on there, he wanted you guys to figure out a date on there. When he did it, because I asked him to get it for tonight's meeting.
Mhm.
And he kind of wanted to leave that open-ended. Right now, we have an ambulance sitting in there because of the weather. And we have a crew sitting down the street.
yeah, I
Places
heard.
stay, so, he's more than willing to let us do whatever we need to get in there as soon as we can. So, once we get the approval, we'll get the operation stuff we need to, and then we can move right in. So that time frame can happen within a week to a couple weeks, 3-4 weeks, depending on getting the logistics set up, get it rolling.
So like a February 1st date?
well, no, not necessarily. If they can start, well, you could, if we sign this in dated January 1st, you could start moving
Correct.
stuff in.
Correct.
Okay,
He has 90% of the building painted already.
okay.
He just wants to finish painting. He's changing the lights, out lights to LED lights in there right now as well.
Then the intent is still to have a manned station for 14 hours during the day.
Yeah,
Two
the
people.
staffing, as the staffing allows with the model we have right now.
And then the other 10 hours is on call or whatever?
Yeah. We have a couple different options we've been discussing, but nothing's been set in stone.
Then the other thing too is they're trying to, during inclement weather, to keep a crew someplace within a few minutes of the station, right?
Correct. So like the model that we set up tonight for today with the weather coming in, just be able to get a crew here faster and get out the door faster.
No, I got 2 rooms in my house, but I'm a couple miles away, so. The other one will be off to school at the end of the month, so I'll open back up by February.
We got options and ideas. Talk about it, we just want to have like other options to facilitate however we need to.
So the leasing on this one would be the town of Lake Mills, because we're doing the actual lease where you guys are the ones that are actually gonna be in.
Correct.
So then the only other question is, based as a contract that we signed.
Yeah.
Is it a valid contract?
Yes. It's between the town and Ryan.
Okay.
Yeah, except that part we didn't quite understand all the logistics on it.
Yes.
I didn't anyway.
That's why I went back to Ryan and asked him instead of a 3-year deal to make it, just so with everything going on.
A 1 year with the option to extend.
Auction to extend, okay.
Correct.
Yep.
Yep. I'm anxious of the political.
Got it.
and everything.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
So we really, I guess in my opinion, we really have to put February in here because of kind of the $5,000 for,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it gets into February disbursement.
Yeah.
It'd be a few days late, but
We would need a little lead time for that, I would think.
February 13th is our next meeting. We can certainly cut a check prior, you guys just have to be able to approve that, and it'll be on the February disbursements listed at the beginning.
otherwise I didn't see anything that was really kind of stood out here. It looks pretty much straightforward.
Pretty standard. I think we just need to decide, is it Tom that's gonna be signing off on this, I would assume?
I would assume. Unless you want all 3 of us on there.
Well, do we have to do it February? I mean, you could amend next month's budget too. Oh, Sharon's not here.
Well, yeah.
So we could do February 1st, right?
Yeah, that's another thing, because you're already, well, we're not.
Well,
January's
that far into-
going to be over.
Yeah, we're not that far into this month, but, you know, you're gonna be halfway through, and
You want to start on the first of a month.
Yeah, and that's
or end
kind
of
of
a
the
month
way
or something like that.
the rental agreement is for payment is the
You
first.
guys can approve the disbursement, so that it can get done and sent to them by February 1st, and then she'll just
Sure.
have it on for next month's
Yeah.
disbursement
Right,
list.
okay.
Yep.
I'm pretty confident you give a commitment to him that he will let us get everything squared away and start moving with the process.
Sure,
Because he offered the building up to us without even asking.
yeah.
All right, so the date is February 1st.
February 1st, 2024.
And then the leasing is Town of Lake Mills,
Correct.
and the length of the agreement shall begin February 1st.
February 1st for 12 months.
So the first check that would have to be cut is the 5,000.
Yep.
Then each month at our monthly board meeting, I would assume you'll be okay with this, that we do the 2,500 every month, whatever our monthly meeting
I'll
is.
discuss that with him, or even Administrator asked if you guys wanted to see the building that I talked about that tonight, and he said he'd be more than willing to set a time for you guys to go through it as well.
Okay, excellent.
You see the inside, given, just so you know, that he's painting it right now.
It's not bad.
So then, Robin, are you gonna then show this to our insurance carrier? Because,
Right, we're gonna probably have to carry some sort of renter's insurance, so.
yeah, well, the main thing is in this lease agreement, it talks about negligence. Then I think, you know, we need to be covered.
So we'll put the condition that this is approved pending
Our insurance, yeah.
Insurance.
Because now, content will be you guys, correct?
Correct, content's covered under the insurance policy.
Right, yeah, we just need to have a rider in case something
Yep.
So the
happens.
contents that's there is the property of the town, so I'll have to explain that to the insurance carrier.
Right,
It's
right,
yours, and
renters.
you have coverage for that, so we should be.
Yep.
Right.
I'm not even sure if we'll have to actually provide a copy of this. I think we just tell them that we're renting a space and.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And then in the paragraph where they talk about the negligence, you could maybe highlight that so that they see that
Yeah.
right away.
They ask for it.
Well, I just think about being
They
right
may
up
not
front.
even ask for a copy of this.
Yeah,
Okay.
just so we're covered, that's all.
Right.
All right, motion.
Make a motion to approve the commercial lease agreement between the town of Lake Mills and Dagner Properties LLC, Ryan Drager, Dagner.
Second.
Any other discussion?
The only thing is, just a bit, so we're clear, Jason, you're gonna talk to Ryan about, because our board meeting is the second Tuesday of every month, except for in April, it's the 3rd, so that our disbursements then would come out on that second Tuesday. If he's okay, he gets it on, shortly after that, rather than the 1st, or Robert, do you wanna stay ahead of it by a whole month?
I think I can talk to Ryan and just say, this is how the town functions with our disbursements.
Or you and I can talk.
I don't think it's gonna be, it shouldn't be.
As long as he
It
knows that
shouldn't, just that,
Yeah.
we have to keep our processes to a certain thing too, and I agree, if we
Right.
have to get ahead, then we need to do it right away, but I think
Right.
Ryan will work with us on that. So.
yeah.
We can either talk them together, Robin, or if you shoot me an email, I can
Sure.
talk them too.
Yeah.
He's pretty reasonable with that.
Okay.
Do you want to amend and give her authority if Ryan declines that? Just,
Oh, as far as the billing, I think the billing part was just.
it
what
won't matter,
is.
okay,
Yeah,
all right.
we'll get it figured out.
All right, sounds good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Your business.
Do you want to approve the disbursement of the initial check prior to the next meeting?
Sure.
Make a motion that we disperse a check for $5,000 for the 1 month's rent and security deposit prior to next meeting.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right, excellent. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your efforts.
Thank you.
As always. All services are always graciously appreciated, including the drug task force. Discussion or decision to disposal sale of law enforcement computers and lift station for PWC.
So in your packets, I provided a copy with the Towns Association.
Saw that, yep.
Yep.
States about property.
Thank you, by the way.
We always have really good information, share.
So I make a motion that we dispose of it for a sale of the law enforcement computers and lift station for PWC.
I will second that.
Any other
Anything else you got? Small.
Yeah, just some random old equipment just sitting around. It's, each item is less than $50, I'm sure.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right. Discussion or decision of setting up discussions with city manager and staff regards to shared service, fire protection, and other intergovernmental agreement opportunities. I just want to get this on here because I think we should meet before we meet with them. To get everything in order, and we just need to figure out a
And
date.
Drake understands that, so he's kind of waiting to hear
Yeah.
what our move is, and then we'll work on scheduling something with him.
So I don't know how fast you want to do it, or if you want to do it like an hour before our next board meeting, or just to try to streamline things. I don't.
It's up to you.
That's the most convenient, I think.
This time of year I'm flexible, so I don't,
Just don't wait. till
Can we
April.
wait? Can we wait?
Right.
We can wait that long.
Yeah.
I mean to do that. Yeah. All right. Let's just do that. Let's
So
just
an
meet.
hour before the next February meeting?
Yeah.
Work session.
Work session. Yep.
February 13th. Last year was on
That'll be at
Valentine's
6
Day.
o'clock.
You're in a hurry, you got a date.
Yeah. Almost Valentine's Day.
She was sitting in the audience, little
That's
shame.
great.
In trouble with that. She
All right, so we need to make a motion on that or no?
You don't.
No, we're good,
We'll get
all
it
right.
posted. yeah.
Get it posted, okay. Excellent. Moving on, discussion or decision adoption amendments of Town Ordinance 5-4 subdivision as recommended by the town attorney. Okay.
So it was posted with amendments we had started with. Got it ready for the public hearing.
Yeah, I
Got
gotta dig back
comments?
and find it.
It's in it.
Buried it somewhere. Yep. There it is.
Other than Susan's Pierce comments, we want to entertain some of those, but otherwise there were a couple other issues that I want to bring up, and that's under sidewalks, which Susan did mention, but it has under there I or number 1 and 2, names of streets and street signs. And really, that shouldn't be under sidewalks, it should be under where it says street names on item F, not item O. So I would like to have that removed.
And that's not a copy that you have with the
No,
amendments of the
no.
law. This is the full ordinance.
Right, the full ordinance. So I would like to see that moved so it's in the right location. Doesn't make any sense under sidewalks. And then the other comments I had were from Susan, so.
Okay,
If
well,
you
I mean,
wanted to
this
put-
came back to, mainly this came back to light because this was worked on back in, signed off on in June of 21, so we've already gone through the whole thing several years ago already. And it evolved that our town attorney saw some things in there, or some updates that needed to happen.
There's a
And-
change in the law or something.
Change in the law that it needed to come back, correct. So that is the whole reason that it came back to fruition here. So I have no problems with what the attorney suggested in here. It's all pretty straightforward stuff. And then, yeah, Susan had her comments, and I'll let you guys comment on those. And
Did the attorney?
The attorney has not seen Susan's comments.
No. Did he review the ones that are in red?
That's what he had made, no.
No, these are
No.
mine.
All right, those are yours, so that would have to go back to him, but it was based on what he recommended. So do we have to send it back to him if it's what he recommended?
Well, it's based on it's the interpretation of what he recommended.
Okay,
Our
okay, all right. So we may need to send it to him for final review, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think so.
well, then we can just send all this and make it easy.
Yeah.
I mean, the only comments I have on the ones that Susan sent in is, I mean, some of it is, to me, it's a little bit trivial because, I mean, I'm a horticulturist and native plants, I mean, there's natives, native-ars, and when it comes to trees, you don't want to really segregate to a certain class of trees because there's very few trees left that we have that aren't subject to massive disease problems and pest issues. So we don't want to take any trees out of the loop. And there's also there's a DNR NR40 invasive species law that already prohibits invasive species, so it takes the bad apples out of the group already. So to me, that part of it's not necessary. And then the 2.5 inches caliper, I mean, that's, a lot of municipalities will have stuff 2 inches and over, basically trunk size, because they tend to take weed whackers around them. Well, there's solutions for weed whackers and guards and things like that you can put on trees. But actually, they found that younger trees take off faster than planting larger trees. So I don't know as if that's necessary either. So I don't know if you want to forward those on or not to the attorney. The only one you might want to is that first one about the
bike paths?
About the bike paths. I don't know, unless one of you guys has a comment on that.
Well, on the, take the one where she mentioned about, stormwater. Did she mention one about stormwater?
Yeah, that's at the very end. Well, she said she only had 3 comments, and then there was 4. There's the last one. That's
Yeah.
the manage the stormwater one.
That one, and you guys can decide on this, but I did take the liberty to write on number 9, storm management, to the residents, contractors shall use best management practices to control stormwater runoff onto neighboring properties, town properties, and road right-of-ways. Because we don't have anything on that, and I know up in Sherwood Hills, we had that one issue with
Oh, yeah.
with that
Yeah.
ditch that wasn't being maintained, and they planted shrubs in the thing, and it became a mess. But the homeowners association was governing that at that time.
Well, and what is the best management practices? I mean, there's not.
Well, if they plant plants in a drainage swale, I guess that's not best management
Right.
practice.
Well, it's not legal anyway by state statute,
Yeah,
because
okay.
you're in the town right away.
So
So
that's fine, if you don't want to put that in there, that's fine.
I just don't know what, you'd have to come up with a whole slate of best management practices based on those scenarios, and that could be a binder full of material, depending on the situation. So I don't know.
Would that be something that would be established by the town engineer at all?
I mean, that would have to maybe come back to the town board, and they'd have to present their best management, or something like that. I mean, that's the only way I think you could resolve that without having to go through a lot of hoops to get there.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I mean, obviously we want it to happen. I mean, we don't want problems. That's definitely not what we want. But, I mean, we can forward that on to the attorney, I mean, if that's a question mark. The two in the middle, I don't think, and then there's the bicycle one. And I mean, it's not that I'm against native plants. I like native plants too, but I like native R's and other things. I mean, and homeowners really, I mean, if you start mandating things to developers and whatever, I mean, you're gonna tend to turn a lot of people off, so you gotta be a little bit careful too, so.
Okay, then, I know in residential, when we approve subdivisions and stuff, I don't know, I haven't done one for quite a while, but I'll just read what I wrote. As far as the developer or subdivider shall provide plants, trees per requirements of 54612F, which is in the commercial area.
Sure.
Best practices on, at lands dedicated to the town for parks, pedestrian areas, open space, and stormwater management, swales and ditches and ponds. We don't have anything right now, and I know the Helversons, the last subdivision, Sherwood Hills,
Oh, yeah.
there was nothing planned.
There was nothing planned.
So,
Yeah.
do we want to
That I think
say
is,
that they have to do so many plants for 2,000 square feet?
that I think is beneficial, absolutely.
So that one
Yeah.
could probably leave in.
Yeah, I
And then
agree with that 100%.
the other one would be, plants and trees shall not be planted within the town right-of-way or on any town property. Approved from the town board. So I think that one, those two, I think, probably could be added.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and that can be sent on to him as well.
All right.
No, there's big benefits to that, so yes.
What was your decision on the first suggestion about the bike paths? You really didn't
Well,
decide on that.
I'm just confused by it because we don't have bike lanes anywhere in the township. And would we ever afford to be able to? Probably not, based on our budget. You can talk to the county even with Brian Udovich, and the county doesn't have, you have to try to tie stuff together. The only people that have it is downtown, in the city. I know they have that one. But in the town, anywhere else, we don't. As far as striping, that's a whole different, when I win Powerball and we have a way bigger roads budget, you can stripe, and the board can just make that decision to stripe things a certain way to try to make it happen on your wider roads, but to say that you're going to do it and require it, boy, you go broke real quick.
Oh, right, yeah.
So, you gotta be a little bit careful with that. And I'm trying to think of which natural corridors that you would connect to, even with as our land use plan comes together, and growth areas. There's really nothing in the old growth areas where the new ones are probably going to stay, in that same spectrum that ties to natural corridors that I can think of off the top of my head anyway. Because part of it's your land and part of it's they're on the end of the subdivision there, so.
Right.
But that can be sent off to the attorney for his review, but I think he's might be confused by it too.
Well, I think he's gonna need direction from us as to whether or not that's what we wanna see in it or not.
Yeah,
not gonna
we
make
don't
that
have
decision
schools
for
and
you.
we don't have, the only public building we have is
Not even in the town.
It's not even in the town, yeah. So, yep.
Hey, Jim, you have a lot of corrections and such. Are you going to,
Give
looks
them
like
to
you're
you.
gonna give it to me to put it together, looks like.
Well, let's,
The only one I'm gonna have put in then is the one that I just read about the planting on town property.
The road right of way.
and the other one is a switch to F.
Yeah.
The-
Right,
Just
yeah.
changing places.
Yeah, and then there's a couple of little, refer to ordinance, public nuisance one that should be more, 3-1-4P, and it should say exterior lighting there, so that's just a minor thing. And that's it, then I took out all this, the only comment I had from Susan was basically, stormwater management one's out, so,
Well, I mean, you guys can,
no, that's all,
you don't want to send that one, all right?
just,
And what about the first one with the bike
No.
lanes? No. All right.
So what I'll do is, once I get his copy, I'll get a draft ready. I'll send it to Jim first, to make sure I got it right, and then
Okay.
we'll distribute to you guys and to the attorney.
Yeah, that's fine. Then it'll work.
So the motion is to send the ordinance back to the attorney for review
Several revisions.
after, we incorporate the revisions that I just mentioned.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. New business discussions, decision to repairs to piers at boat launches. So the north pier is on the floats. That's got to be fixed. There's some damaged floats and there's some damaged bumpers. We've been working with D.L. Anderson. I just assume have them come pick it up and take it over to their shop and get, because we're going to need it this year to have it put
Better
back
get
in.
on that, because they're gonna be looking at
Yeah.
spring, because the water's not gonna have ice on it.
Yeah, yeah. And then the other one got damaged pretty bad, I think, over on, well, they all need fixing, but the Elm Point one got, Joe Cooper had to go kind of cobble that thing back together. And I guess really all the piers should be taken a look at, just to get temporarily fixed until we get to where we need to be at the North Landing. So I just need approval to go ahead and get that done, and that would come out of our Rock Lake Fund, correct?
Correct.
Because, yeah, if we don't start now, they'll get busy real quick.
So I'll make a motion to have Tom go ahead with the repairs on all of the piers that we have in the town.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Discussion or decision to purchase new tables for the town hall.
Okay, so the tables we have are starting to fall apart. They're very heavy. These are probably the soundest ones we have. Looking at the upcoming election season, I'm gonna probably have to split the poll book, and to do so, I have to have more space, and these tables take up a lot more space than's actually needed to function on them. So I'm really hoping to get some lighter weight tables. We just received the money back from the sale of the Conservation Road property, so we can certainly take it out of some of those funds and reinvest it back in here just a little bit for some tables, if you're willing.
What do we do with these?
I think the ones that are in the worst shape, we need to get rid of, because they're gonna be a safety issue. There's a couple that we can hang on to for this function, because they do work well for what we need, for the meetings. The other ones are gonna be a little bit narrower, so they may not, be able to spread out quite as much. If we need to dispose of the ones, I think there's some that are just gonna be junk. They're not repairable.
Yeah.
If we decide we need fewer of these and they're still functionable, and then I think we need a motion of the board to dispose of them in some manner, or we take them to the auction or something, or we donate them.
Donate them.
I think
So
it's
do you
gonna
want
be.
to
There's a
come
spot
up
to
with
do that.
you want to come up with an inventory and what you feel we can keep, what we're going to get rid of?
Could do that,
And
yeah.
come up with a cut sheet on what you want to buy,
Sure.
with price for
I think
next.
we're okay with chairs. I think it's just focusing on table. And I had mentioned earlier, maybe some extension cord, so. we can
Yeah,
keep
you might
them
want
here rather
to
than
amend
bring it
this a
out.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I
Sounds good
think
to
we
me.
weeded out pretty much all the chairs, except I see one right there that's probably,
Broken.
yeah, the front, those rods.
Oh, right there, yeah.
You know, and there's a few more maybe in there, and they're safety hazards.
Yeah, so,
Don't send that
We should go through those too and
okay.
toss out stuff like that that's broken.
And I gotta think about what kind of table we wanna get. Do we want one that folds in the middle for a little easier storage? You know, we only have so much space here.
Yeah, if you get the plastic ones, they're a little lighter.
Right.
I know Menards have some
I
pretty
do
nice
have to
ones.
make sure I have at least one table that I can meet the ADA accessibility, put our handicap voting machine or accessibility for a voter to sit at.
Yeah.
So that's a very specific height.
Does that one work?
It does not.
Oh, because it's on the board underneath, I
Yeah,
suppose.
the clearance, so. All right, I'll work on the inventory.
Okey doke. Correspondence.
Just the information from the town attorney in regards to the Act 73 regarding alcoholic beverages. And I know Jim said in the Towns Association magazine that just got sent out, they had a version that's a little bit easier to understand what the law changes.
Yep.
So make sure you guys read that.
Yep.
That's about it.
I just had one from somebody up in the Gallup neighborhood that complained about the trimming, which I didn't really get the gist of because he did talk with a contractor and he was wondering why they hadn't gotten up there sooner or whatever, or years ago, whatever it was, but it didn't seem to be an issue at the time until after the fact, so.
Anything in the road right of way, we have to have clear for snow plowing,
Yeah,
Right, yep.
and it was overgrown.
and we did, and I believe we talked about it during our electors meeting when we were going after the extra money, that we had a whole slew of that work that had to be done. And that
The
was
only other thing I want
was
to
part of the
mention
cost.
in regards to, like, tonight's snow plowing is, it's a heavy snow, and I know people are gonna say, well, my mailbox got knocked off. Chances are, it was the snow and
Snow
the
that did
plow
it,
drivers. So,
It's heavy.
I saw a few on the way here.
Yep, don't wreck your back shoveling it, that's
Yeah.
for sure. All right, discussion of future agenda items.
Anything that's not on here that's gonna get carried over? We're going into February. I would assume some of the road work, maybe, the crack filling
Yeah, the crack
information?
filling, hopefully we might have something back by then. They're usually pretty fast.
Okay.
And I can just kind of set that deadline or whatever, too.
Yeah,
I'll get that
sounds
out
like-
right away this week yet.
It sounds like we won't be having a February primary election, which
It's okay with you.
Good.
the only one thing I can think of, if we're gonna work on any ordinances, is maybe creating that ordinance that if we ever have more than 2 people running for our local office, where we would need a February primary during a re-election year for town board members, that we put an ordinance in place that all 3 or however number of candidates wanna run can just go directly onto the April ballot, rather than creating a primary
Extra
just for the
elections
town.
For that,
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boy, that would be a blessing.
Yeah.
3? Which one?
Have options, huh?
Yeah, boy, wow.
So I might dig into that and see if I can come up with a draft to work with.
Yeah, hopefully they didn't come to that plan commission meeting, because they went. All right, meeting scheduled, February 6th, plan commission meeting. That'll be the land use plan too, they'll be talking about that some more. And any other comments, I think, are gonna be in by then, correct, Jim?
Yeah.
Yep. February 8th, 2024, Parks Committee meeting, but I think that's gonna potentially get changed to the Monday the 12th, but I'm not sure yet. I don't know,
Yeah.
Jason would try to email you, but I'm not sure.
He did, and I haven't gotten any response from any of the members.
Okay, so we'll just have to see that one's an outlier yet. And if they have a quorum on the 8th or whatever, they can just have it. February 13th, 2024, Town Board meeting, 7 PM Town Hall. February 15th, 2024, Joint Rock Lake Committee meeting, 6 PM City Hall. February 15th, 2024, Town Hall Facilities Committee meeting, 6 PM.
And then we'll also have February 13th meeting at 6 PM for a workshop prior to the town board meeting. And then
Correct.
this Thursday, we have the
Yep.
facilities meeting as well.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned at 8:49 PM.